I just watched Mulholland Drive for the first time. Wow, very very interesting movie. I have a lot of things to say about it. What I'll say first off is I definitely understand if people aren't fans of David Lynch. Right off the bat, I just want to point that out. I I think it's funny how this movie is it starts off one way and ends completely different, and I think a lot of people would get frustrated that David Lynch never gives any final like ta-da, this was the point of the movie. There's never any like grand reveal. It's always just this kind of dragging, like not dragging you along, but it moves from one thing to the next, gives you all these fascinating moments and all these intriguing things going on, and then sometimes the rug is just pulled out from under you, and you just feel like, wait, what did I just watch? Suddenly everything suddenly everything that was established and everything that you were invested in is might not have even been really happening, or might have been happening in not it might have been happening not in the way that you think, is what I mean. So first off, I want to mention the reason I watched this before the others. Originally, I was planning on watching them in order, and then I decided to change my mind and watch this one because this is one of his more popular films, and I'm excited to watch all of his stuff. But this was significantly more. I was way more curious about this one than Wild at Heart or Lost Highway, and I'm very excited to watch those. And after that, it'll be the Art of Life, and then that's it. The documentary that they made of him, and then that's it. Excluding his short films, obviously. But this one it's so popular. I've heard many things about this movie. I've known about this movie for the longest time, and for whatever reason, I have no idea why I never got into David Lynch's stuff sooner. By the way, I guess I always knew that I would, and I never wanted to. I've spent a lot of time watching long form like television, very long television shows in my adult life as well. So that's kind of what takes up a lot more time than being able to watch movies. But also play music, doing my own thing artistically. That's what really, to be honest, that's what takes up a lot of my time as well. But I heard about this for a long time, and it was great to finally watch it and to see. It's great to finally get into his stuff and not only see why he's so divisive or why people are diehard fans of him or not. It's not only great to see that, but it's great to. I'm really enjoying that I get to watch these for the first time as a in my 30s. I really feel like I have a completely, like my love for film and my love for storytelling is only grown as I've gotten older, and I'm very excited. I'm very happy that I get to kind of experience these with a very, just from a very experienced, like experienced perspective of a film enthusiast. And it's I really don't think that I don't know if I would have liked these types of movies or if I would have liked his stuff when I was younger. So that's what I've been really I'm glad that I like his movies because I bought all of the Criterion collection, excluding Wild at Heart. There is no Criterion for that, but I bought all of his movies just assuming I would like him, and it's very likely I wouldn't have. But I just mean as far as it's a 50-50 chance with Lynch. You will love it or hate it. I don't want to say I'm in the middle. It's like I feel like I'm gonna appreciate him more as I rewatch his stuff. I guess right now I'm so in the middle of processing all of what it is and what his style is and kind of getting a feel for his, Lynchian approach that he's so famous for. I'm kind of like just processing it more than it, and that's just kind of how I watch things. I'm way more of an appreciation for things as as I watch it a second or third or fourth time. That's how it's been with every TV show I've watched, and how it's been with just pretty much anything. Music. I'm the kind of person that doesn't really. I'm enjoying the breaking down of it too much on a first viewing or first time experience of something. I'm absorbing it like as an artist, and then it's almost like the second or third time because it's because I do that because I'm trying to just kind of get a grasp on it or what it's trying to, I'm engaging with it so much that on a second or third viewing, then I can, once I have gotten that, the the mystery of it is done. After I've seen it, I can kind of reapproach it and be like, all right, now I can just enjoy it and let it happen because I feel comfortable in knowing already I already have an idea of what's going to happen, right? So I guess for me, it's I feel like David Lynch's stuff is only gonna become. I'm only gonna really fall in love with it more and more as I get older and as I continue to revisit his stuff. Because I am such a big fan of it artistically, but a part of me does understand if a lot of people, genuinely like hate this kind of shit or genuinely hate the, it's like it's intentionally ambiguous. You could say he's intentionally like fucking with you and then calling it art and shit like that. You can 100% like you feeling that way is not wrong by any means or not invalid. You know what I mean? Like I think that's a very justifiable perspective. However, the artist in me or the person that understands why he is so revered or the part of me that is also in love with it is that is also because of that. It's because it's never there's never like because you're never fully grasping it or feel that you understand it 100%. It's almost like you're engaging with I don't want to say it's as dumb as like cliched term, but I don't want to say an alternate dimension, but it's almost like looking at Lynch's work. It's the exploration of somebody's artistic world being brought to like the umpteenth degree or being brought like to the most intense presentation that it can be. Lynch, what he's doing is, where somebody like Wes Anderson is very talented at bringing his style and bringing you into his creative world, and also he's kind of the opposite, where it's very like definitively this happened, and this happened. Lynch is a complete like opposite of that, and that he wants you to feel something from it as opposed to thinking. He wants you to think about how you feel, not feel something through your left brain or feeling like a lot of times movies, the way that a story is presented and the way that something is edited, the way a movie is made is very, we're so conditioned to, and I'm sure I've said this in some of his other videos where I've talked about him, but we're so conditioned to like things in film kind of being literal, being straight and right to the point, and he's kind of like fuck that. He's like it's so theatrical is what I really where like if you're not a theater person or if you haven't seen something like certain lighting choices and certain things like with music, if you're not like a performer or an artist or someone that has an appreciation for the vast interpretation of what live theater can be and what when things are very very much symbolic or not ambiguous but not literal. When you take that non-literal approach and you put it on film, it can be very jarring because people love to feel like films are real life and that they're really happening. I genuinely think most people go off of the based on a true story aspect of films. They watch movies and they're like, oh yeah, this is really what happened, even though it's like it's all fake. It's actors pretending to be, even when it's a biopic is what I'm saying. I think when people watch something like Into the Wild with Emile Hirsch as Chris McCandless, there are people that read the book and they picture Emile Hirsch. They don't even picture Chris McCandless. That's like how funny it is to me that movies, we when it comes to moving pictures and sounds and things being, movies feel like a direct link to how our thoughts are processed in the real world. Is kind of how I look at films and movies and storytelling in general. Stories feel like they are the one of the few things in life that gives meaning to just all of the infinite things that are going on and the complexities of our minds. and it's a way of bringing all humans to kind of a reality and having a shared, like, either way, like, I know we're all different, but we are all human and we all have to live life. That's like what stories are to me. And Lynch's approach to storytelling it's so different. It's so cool because of how different it is and how unique it is and how, like, nobody can really do what he did. All right, I should talk about the movie itself now that after I've been fucking glazing David Lynch for this and talking about art and artsy bullshit. So the story is a woman, experiences amnesia after being in a car accident, doesn't know her own name, and she ends up, stumbling into a house who, the owner's niece, played by Naomi Watts, she's staying in the home as she's trying to become an actress in Hollywood and is there to kind of audition, try to be in movies. And as they're both trying to find... they're basically trying to find out who the woman that got into the car accident, they're trying to find out who she is, since she forgot. She doesn't know her own name. She doesn't know, really, she doesn't really have any memory of anything, I guess, prior to that car accident. While they're trying to find her, or what her identity is, all this just kind of all these random things start to happen with the director of the film that Naomi Watts is trying to star in, and the landlord of the place, and all sorts of things just kind of unravel as they're wandering around Hollywood trying to find out why she was why she was in that car in the first place, just trying to find out what happened before. And like I said earlier, I don't know if I said this already, but yeah, like the beginning of the movie and the second, like the first half and the second half of the movies are so different. The first half of this movie feels like very 2000s. It almost had like a Coen Brothers thing going on with it, or a just like very quick, like beat for beat, almost like a Paul Thomas Anderson thing going on in the beginning. It reminded me of I don't know. Almost had like a boogie, like not Boogie Nights, but it had just like there was a very specific style of like those kind of drama, thriller, just like very like suspenseful stories. There was kind of a vibe with certain movies like that in the 90s and 2000s. And the first half of this movie feels like that. There's like some really like just intriguing moments of like, whoa, like where is this gonna go? Like some shit's popping off. And then, of course, yeah, it literally goes into, David Lynch's dreamlike, very specific stylistic approach, and then by the time it ends, it's just like, what the fuck? Like, I love that the movie is always ending with like, not like a lot of his stuff. It's not a what the fuck did I just watch, but it's like you have to preface it with, wow, that was amazing, but also what the fuck did I just. Like, what happened? What was the experience of that? There's a great twist in the end, or a very much like a moment where it flips the story on its head, and then you're like, wait, what? Going back to what I was saying before, it's like suddenly everything you saw might have not even really been what was happening. And I think about his stuff so much as I understand. Again, I understand why a lot of people, I genuinely think, like most people in the world, would not get his stuff or not appreciate it the way that most people do, or the way that his fans do, some of his diehard fans do. I regardless of how I end up feeling after processing everything by the end of the movie, I always am thinking about it a lot, and it sticks with me, and it's like I can't. It's like he brings it into this world, gives you all of these questions, but you're supposed to fill in the answers. You're for everything. That's what's funny about his shit, is that I feel like I have to fill in the blanks for every bit of it. Who are these people? What's going on in the story really? What was going on in his mind when he wrote it, and what was going on in his mind when he was directing it? Like what? It's just a big question mark, but it's a golden question mark. It's a lovely. I don't want to say it's a blank canvas of an art piece, but or of a film, but it's it's almost like you're in a lovely way, David Lynch feels like he wants you to be not directing the movie with him, but it's like he wants you to be involved in it just as much as he and the actors and the crew were. I feel like when I watch his stuff, I feel involved, and I feel like I'm a part of the story because in getting me to think about it that much and and the fact that he is getting you to, as the viewer, he's getting you to want to answer these things for yourself and want to find meaning in it, and that desire to understand what's going on. That's involvement. That's me giving myself back to the movie, or giving myself back to the art of it, right? And man, that is such a lovely feeling. That's something you don't really get with most directors. Period. Most directors, it feels like, this is my shit. Here you go, and this is like what it is. You know, let's go through all the greats: Tarantino, Spielberg, Scorsese, Wes Anderson, Coen brothers. All of these directors are amazing because of how definitive they tell their stories and how definitively they show you everything the way that they want to show it to you. David Lynch is like exactly that same approach, but he's also like, you know, kind of leaves the door open for you, just a crack. He like cracks open the door for you a little bit and wants you to come in, wants you to be in the editing room with him, wants you to feel like you're a part of everything. And like I said, in the fact that he doesn't give you any of that definitive, any of those definitive answers like a lot of other directors do, and a lot of people writing stories want to do. The fact that he doesn't do that is what makes his stuff very special and very important, and is why he's revered amongst just artists in general. He's just an artist first, and he happens to make films, happens to paint and do all sorts of shit. I think in another life, he and I would have been absolutely best friends. I feel that a lot about a lot of my favorite artists, though, because I'm so grateful for what they've given me and what they have done with their lives in needing to get a part of themselves out and wanting, not me personally, but wanting the audience, wanting people to see what they see and to feel what they feel. And that's where he was a master at this. He was a master at getting you to feel what he wanted. And I feel like it, because I relate to this a lot too. I feel like his dreams and his sleep state and how intense his dreams must have been, or how intense he felt about his experiences in his dreams, or in these kind of in-betweens of consciousness and not being conscious. I feel that entirely. Like I feel way too attached to my dreams, and I feel way too attached to like the parts of me that I'm not necessarily completely aware of all the time, or those things that are kind of, you know, these are like little shadows of ourselves kind of going in the in-betweens of our conscious mind. And he explored that in a lot of ways, and I love exploring that too. So let me get into some other stuff besides David Lynch being a fucking genius, I guess. Naomi Watts. If you don't know the story of this, it's absolutely fast. This is what I'm saying. I read a lot about this before. I like knew a lot about this going into this. Naomi Watts' story of her career. This is a huge break for her. This was a huge break for her, and it's oddly relative to how I feel about my life at this very, very fucking moment. And I have to talk about that before I continue. Naomi Watts, I believe, was acting for 10 or 15 years before she was literally ready to quit acting. And then she finally got her break with this movie and working with David Lynch. She didn't even necessarily audition for the movie. All she did was meet up with him and have a conversation about just her life. He basically wanted to get to know her and just wanted to get to know like what her background was like, you know, what her life story was essentially. And cast her just because of that, and the point of where she was in her career, timing wise, with this specific character in this story, is like that is a lightning in a bottle moment that never ever fucking happens as far as what she was able to bring to this performance. I'm surprised she didn't win an Oscar this year. She is fantastic in this, and I don't know who won that year, but I genuinely think I'm assuming she was a close second, or she probably should have won, to be honest, because the timing of her career with and the fact that it's an actress trying to be in movies and be in Hollywood. There's a great moment where she's at an audition for real, or in the movie she's at an actual audition, and it's just this one long take of her and doing the scene with this older guy, and it's this very like intense, like kind of sexual thing going on, and it's it's honestly some of the best acting I've seen in a long time, as far as having to do that within, that acting within acting kind of thing too. And just, a good actor can make basically that scene. It's not like we even know what the movie's about, or we even know, we're just getting these little bits of the movie she's trying to audition for, but you never really get to see what it was. And you don't have to, you understand what's going on. And the scene when she's rehearsing it before with the other woman, before she goes in, they're completely different, versions of the scene. But just that scene alone was like, absolutely, like I literally said out loud, wow. Like I was just like, wow, that was fucking incredible acting there on her part. Specifically, the guy was great too, but she is like, oof, like completely that was mesmerizing, that one moment in the movie. Not to mention everything else in the rest of the 2 hours of the film. So yeah, the timing of that, her being in that point of her career, and because that's so, I relate to that so much. I'm not trying to quit I don't think I'll ever quit music. I'm stubborn as fuck, and I just won't let it go. I'm gonna basically I have to make it, or I have to be successful at this point. And if I don't, I'm just gonna die trying. It's a get rich or die trying kind of where I'm at in my life personally. So it inspires me. Stories like this inspire me, where it's like right when you just hear how many times they want to quit, or they're about to, they're just very tired of not getting that big break for a very long time, and they're about to quit, and then shit happens. And moments like that for her, and hearing stories like that constantly is or not, anytime I do hear those stories where you hear just not even someone making it when they're older, but somebody trying very hard for a long. She's been acting since I'm pretty sure the mid to late 80s. She was doing it for a while, for a very long time, and then just you get tired of it. You get tired of spending all your time and your energy in something that is just draining you. Drains your energy, your time, your money, your fucking your social life. There's so many things that I have sacrificed to do what I want to do, making art and making music and stuff, and the expectations of these things, or the expectations of success, or just not even the expectations, but that desire for that. It really can get to you, So I just the story and what was happening in the context of all that really adds to a lot to her performance, as well as just how you will feel about watching her performance if you're like me and you're experiencing kind of that same thing. She does all of this, and then gives one of the she is frustrated dealing with all, probably just taking these side gigs and not doing anything really worthwhile for her career, and then does one of the greatest performances of her career and in film history, period. Absolutely 10 out of 10 performance by Naomi Watts in this movie. Quite honestly, one of my favorite performances in any David Lynch thing I've seen so far ever, period. There's no way, there's no arguing that. I don't think anybody would disagree with me on that, to be honest. Yeah, she was absolutely incredible. What I want to point out, yes, before I forget that, I'm glad I fucking grabbed that train of thought before it fled into the tunnel there. I love that what I love about her performance in this is that it doesn't feel so heavy-handed, in the sense of and we've seen that type of story before in movies, right? Where it's an actress trying to make it, and it's very hard to do that kind of character without it being so forced or obvious, obviously or contrived in some way. Like what I really admire about Naomi Watts' performance in this is how she is playing that that not even struggling actress, that fresh face in Hollywood, kind of wanting to be in the big movies, but wanting to be in the pictures. It's hard to approach that kind of character without it being so phony or being so kind of full of shit, because that character in and of itself is not necessary. I think that kind of approach to a story is something that most people can't really relate to. Most people haven't done that, just randomly moved to LA and gone for it, because that's a big fucking risk. So I think just that alone, that kind of approach. But of course, when David Lynch does it, it's really good, and it's not forced by any means. And it's honestly like such a small part of the whole movie. You think in the beginning of the movie, you think that that's what the story is going to be, and there's kind of this like mafia or like underground crime thing kind of going on as well. And you think it's going to be one thing with Naomi Watts' character, and then it becomes something else entirely, which is really what's the most fascinating part about it. But I really not only applaud her for being just such a very beautiful, incredible performer in a lot of ways. I not only applaud her for that, but I applaud her for being able to do that type of role without it being so I don't want to say tongue in cheek, but without it being an actor acting as an actor acting kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like you see a lot of actors with acting within acting, character within a character, story within a story, and it doesn't feel like she does that in this. It feels like a constant. The character doesn't stay the same the whole movie. What I mean is it doesn't. It feels like her the entire time, or it feels like one, like a nice constant as a performance, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I got from that. Is what I couldn't help but think when I was watching it is like, wow, I don't feel like it's got like it almost like teases that in the very beginning when she's getting off of, when she's walking out of the airport with this woman that she was like traveling with. And it feels like that at first in the very beginning. You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it, or I see where the story is kind of going. And then right when she gets to her aunt's house, and from there on out, it completely like it breaks that assumption immediately, So I really admire her that she was able to take that and it's not because. And what I love about David Lynch's dialogue too, though, is if anybody else directed it, or if he had it like, if it wasn't like his movie, I don't know if somebody would be able to direct his script as well as he does. Like the dialogue is very. I like that his dialogue is very a lot of exposition, a lot of establishing things, and a very like, not so obvious in a bad way. It's just very obvious, and like it's hard to miss what's going on. Almost every bit of like dialogue I've seen in his movie so far is it's so to the point and doesn't very reminiscent of like how Charles Bukowski said you have to approach writing, where it's like every line has to have a little morsel of life to it, or has to have a little. And David Lynch's writing, it feels like just. It's always pushing the story forward, and it's always giving you something necessary. And I think if anybody else directed it, I think that they wouldn't get what he is actually trying to do with the very basic. What I mean is the dialogue is like deceptively simple. It comes off as like very vanilla or typical. And it's not at all, it starts off that way maybe, and then it kind of gets into his like weirdness, which is cool. So yeah, a lot of stuff. The performances were fantastic. The other actress is pretty fantastic as well. Laura Herring, she's great, and there's a lot of like erotic lesbian shit going on with this. What I love about his stuff is that this I love that he uses sexuality and nudity very intentionally. Like his stuff has a lot of like, I'm not gonna lie, watching Fire Walk with Me was very shocking with a lot of the, I get why people were like, oh my God, he went too far with it, or he like messed with like the Twin Peaks universe as far as the show feels completely tame, like way more tame. The original series feels super tame compared to Fire Walk with Me, and then the Twin Peaks The Return is just pushes that kind of abrasiveness of that a little bit more. But you can't deny the fact that he uses sexuality it's never pointlessly thrown in. I've never seen anything sexual or anything with that being thrown. It's never a throwaway idea, or it's never it is always a very, very specific reason why he has people having sex or why there's nudity in some way, and it's always like it is like very sexy and very like enticing with how erotic it can be, and it's got that, you know, like it persuades, it's very alluring, you know, in a lot of ways, but it's not like, it's still, what I mean is, it is still like, you know, triggering that, like, whatever that part of the sexual, you know, our sexual minds, but it is never like it's always to kind of, like I said, invite you more into the world, or it only brings you kind of closer to the characters and brings you close, like more, makes you feel more involved with the story. I love it. Like, I love the way he approaches sexual or you know, anything with nudity. I think it's I just think it's really, I really respect him for that. I really respect that he would do that, is what I mean. Because you should, you know, you should use it. Like I would say, for example, Wolf of Wall Street is kind of a lot of times just kind of thrown in there, and you could say that is following the reality of that world too. But that felt very much like it was just a part of it, like a part of it on the side, not necessarily involved with it as much as it could. But his stuff, these two have like there's a lot of great like sexual tension with these characters, and a lot of see, I think it's actually very similar to, without spoiling anything, giving anything away, it reminds me very much of Black Swan, where it's actually symbolic of something else as far as how the two characters relate to each other. It's kind of that's what I get from it, at least, is that it's not really about that. It's again, still maybe like a symbolic kind of approach to something. Justin Theroux is fantastic. And I mean, I don't want to say fantastic. He's great, and just kind of playing the character how the character needs to be played. Justin Theroux is always fantastic. I've always liked Justin Theroux in anything I've seen. He's in 6 Feet Under, my favorite television show of all time. He is just a great actor, and I loved him in Inland Empire as well. What I liked about him is the hairstyle, and just the kind of, he's smoking cigarettes and shit. It almost felt like it was supposed to be David Lynch's interpretation of himself or something. It was almost like he wrote himself as a character in the movie, because the dude's smoking and is like, you know, got his hair a specific way. Maybe not what the character does. I'm just saying his look and his, like, I don't know. It felt like he was slightly, you know, planting that seed of himself in there. This also, before I forget, this movie in the beginning, it feels very like a Hitchcock kind of movie. It's got like a suspenseful, like very like much a Hitchcock thing going on in the beginning, and then like once they go to like Silencio, which is this like place where this woman Rebecca Del Rio is performing. Once that part happens, the rest of the movie is very, I mean, there's some real bonkers parts that happen. Like the very end, there's got some, you know, I can't really say anything without giving it away, but there's some really like super cool, weird moments that freaked me out in the end, or that were just made me feel very like, whoa, you know. Also, it's fascinating that this movie was actually originally made as an hour-and-a-half pilot, and they tried to pitch it as a television show. And it didn't get picked up, so he decided just like, I don't know if he reshot everything. I'm pretty sure he reshot everything, because from what I've seen in the unaired pilot footage, it looks like it looks like it was shot on a you know, like tape or a lower quality film camera. So that's interesting. And I kind of want to read more about that. Like, why didn't it get picked up, or what's the story of like going from the pilot they originally pitched to the full length movie? Because it's like an extra hour of footage, I guess, going from the hour-and-a-half pilot to. And I wonder why he would do that. Like, why was Twin Peaks season 1 and 2 premieres an hour-and-a-half? I guess that was just a thing for a while, like 2-parter premieres. I don't know. Lost is a 2-part premiere. I find that interesting, why some shows are only 45 to an hour, while others are like a 2 straight up like double episode right off the bat. I don't know what else there is to say about it. I've been talking about it long enough. I really love my Criterion Collection editions of these movies. His movies deserve to be owned on physical media, and to have them in the fact that so many of his movies are in the Criterion Collection. I really love it. I love that I love what the Criterion Collection is supposed is like what the meaning behind it is, and what like why they are doing what they're doing. It's essentially, if you don't know, I'll literally read the back of this box. The Criterion Collection is dedicated to gathering the greatest films from around the world and publishing them in editions of the highest technical quality with supplemental features that enhance the appreciation of the art of film. Visit us at criterion.com. I think that that approach, just say like that, I would, as a filmmaker, if I ever make movies and shit, I would love to, and I would love to, I really want to. Like, I'm at a point where I'm kind of like not wanting to leave music behind, but I'm wanting to pursue other things while I'm still young enough to do things like that. To me, I would feel way more honored to be a part of Criterion Collection than to be a winner of any Academy Award or any fucking award ever. I think that something like this, as far as, the Criterion Collection saying, this is the Criterion Collection is, if you make it, it's essentially saying this is artistically worthy to be conserved in its purest form for many years to come. That's basically what they're saying. So, of course, David Lynch, yeah, anything that he made was very, for some reason, Wild at Heart isn't in there, but something tells me they're going to do a whole David Lynch, like his entire filmography, including his short films, and I'm sure I'll get it eventually. I would love to get all those collections of those expensive like things, but they're pricey. That Stanley Kubrick one, the Wes Anderson one, they're like $200-300. So, and I don't have the room for them. They're like a giant, it's like a big ass display of whatever. But the Wes Anderson one is cool. Anyway, not to talk about other people. You're here for David Lynch. I'm here for David Lynch right now. Mulholland Drive. Fantastic. Fantastic as far as it makes sense why, this movie, I would say is one of his better films and one of his more fascinating movies. From what I've seen so far, at least. I get why this one kind of stands out more than the others, excluding Elephant Man. Like, it makes sense why the Elephant Man is more like commercially well received, while this Mulholland Drive feels like him at his like peak, I would say. I love Twin Peaks: The Return, but that definitely was him. Twin Peaks: The Return is it's just kind of, that's an apples and oranges kind of thing. That's amazing, but it's way different than like his era of like 19, even like, well, yeah, Eraserhead was like, like 70s, but like Elephant Man up to Mulholland Drive, that's like his career essentially, right? When you think about it, yeah, Mulholland Drive is kind of his, not only one of his better films, but like his last like bit of his peak of his career. So, after seeing it, it makes sense why this is probably like the first movie that people introduce others to David Lynch through, and why this is kind of talked about so much. I guess the reason why this stands out for me, or why it feels more, it feels so strongly Lynchian, I guess, is what I would say about it. It feels like his approach to storytelling, his direction, his just style with all of it. His style with all of it. Has this been fucking... Oh my god. I use my phone as a second camera on here, and it was just like on the entire last like 40 fucking minutes or something like that. I don't know if I should do that. But yeah, okay. Before I keep getting distracted. It feels like this is his like one of his stronger movies, because of how I what I get from it is that he was seriously like in the zone at this point. He was working on stuff for that entire 2 decades essentially. He's working on so much shit, and Mulholland Drive is kind of the... It's like his main, not epic film of his career, I guess, but his main everything being like on firing on all cylinders kind of thing. It fires off purely him, and purely like, I mean, this movie's got like Twin Peaks kind of vibes going on in it. Sometimes it's got like some elements of it's got elements of like everything that he worked on up until this point, is kind of why I really appreciate it, or why I love it so much, is it feels like a lot led up to this. And you can tell that he put a lot of love into it, or you can tell like so much of him is in it, and it's just great. It's a great classic, like mystery kind of suspenseful thriller thing with like some weird freaky moments, and it's also a movie experience like no other that I've ever had. This would definitely be the first movie that I would like show to. It's like this and Eraserhead are like the first movies that anybody should be introduced to with David Lynch. You either watch watch his first movie he ever made, his first feature-length film he ever made, I should say, and or his most like, it's like Mulholland Drive is his most commercially accessible one, is what I feel about it. Like, even though a lot of his stuff is hard to it's not necessarily like everybody's cup of tea, obviously. It's just really well made, and it's a perfect movie to be introduced to David Lynch with, like I said. I love David Lynch's work. I can't wait to watch. I'm gonna watch the rest of them. I think the reason I wanted to save Wild at Heart for later is because I have it on DVD. I don't even have a Blu-ray of it, so it's gonna be a kind of a rough quality to watch it. I'm gonna watch Lost Highway. That's another Criterion edition of that, and then I'm gonna watch Wild at Heart. So if you want to see more David Lynch stuff, I'm gonna be talking about it plenty, and then I might even revisit them, do a follow-up review. And David Lynch is the kind of person I could see myself talking about for a very long time, or at least making videos on, and I kind of want to feel that influence of him, and feel the like, what, not even what would he do, but feel that like he is somebody that I want to be as artistically as I want to feel as much artistic freedom as him, and I want to feel that kind of really letting all of that out, and kind of let loose with my art and what I'm creating as well. Because it feels like he didn't hold back at all. It feels like he just kind of gave so much of himself into everything he did, and gave so much into his work. And I think any artist, any filmmaker, musician, songwriter, author, whatever whatever approach you have to the artistic world, every single person in the arts should at least watch one or two David Lynch movies, or at least give him a chance and see if it's something for you, because he is required viewing for any artist ever. Thank you so much for watching my movie review. I really appreciate you guys being here. You can subscribe if you aren't already. I'm still figuring this out, how to do YouTube shit. I'll be honest, I'm really not a YouTuber, but I think I'm getting the hang of it. Or just like, I honestly, like, hopefully I would love to be able to do this full time, and just constantly practice and get better at it. But there are only very specific moments throughout the day where I even feel like doing a video, when I'm not working, especially. Only specific times where I actually feel like recording stuff, and I'm kind of not forcing myself to do it lately, but I'm just kind of just doing it because I know that I like to do it. And it's like, as soon as I only remember how much I love making these videos as soon as when I start talking about them, or when I start doing them. I have to just kind of rev up the engine a little bit in order to go, or else I just won't have the motivation to do it. So I hope you guys like these videos. That I think I would say that this, after watching, now I'm really getting into the thick of it with with David Lynch's work. I'm really starting to feel some. I'm just really enjoying talking about it. I'm really enjoying giving my thoughts on it, because, like I said, I feel so involved with it, and I feel like it's, I feel like he's giving me an experience I've never had, and I'm feeling things that I've never felt, and I didn't think that would happen. the older I've gotten, I didn't think, I figured I'd watched every single thing that was like, all right, I felt I've already watched all of my favorite movies or watched all of my favorite shows already, but Twin Peaks and some of these movies have reminded me like there's like still some really good shit out there that I absolutely have to give some time, make sure I save some time for it, give my attention to it. Yeah. All right. Much love to y'all. Thank you so much. There'll be more videos. Most likely going to do Lost Highway and Wild at Heart. Hopefully both of them within the next week or two. More movies after that. I'm kind of in a David Lynch kick right now, so I really want to kind of finish all of them, not get them out of the way, but I want to watch his stuff because I'm really getting into it. But I will review some other movies soon. I promise. I'll watch some other stuff. I have plenty of physical media to go through, so there is no shortage of stuff to watch on that and the streaming that I have, streaming services I have. I'm ready for it. More movie reviews to come. I'm streaming a lot. You could follow me on Twitch, just my name, Rio Peterson. I'm streaming a lot of music lately and just doing a lot of other videos for like my music page and just other shit. So that's kind of where I've been here and there, peppering in these videos on this channel because I'm just doing a lot of stuff in general lately. I'm gonna record a podcast right after this for my main music channel. So yeah, if you like music, if you like video games, I do all that stuff too. You can check out that stuff in the featured channels on this channel here. So all that stuff, any description of any of my channels, you can find the links to my other YouTube channels, basically. You should be able to. I'm pretty sure I had those default settings put on there. So, yeah, as always, much love to you all. Thank you so much. Seriously, anybody watching these, there are only like 9 or 10 of you that I see watching, but that all 9 and 10 of you are very special to me, and I really appreciate you spending some time with spending some time out of your day listening to me talk about art and movies and music and all sorts of shit. I can't talk right now. I'm sorry. I'm fucking all right. Love y'all. Bye.